studio in my basement, and today I'm going to give you a little look around the studio and show you what I've been working on. So before we dive in, let me just give you a view from more of a distance. I'm really fortunate to have a gorgeous studio space that even includes windows in my basement. And now I'll dive in and give you a look at what I do in here. So to start off the tour, this is my cart where I keep all my art supplies and paints when I'm using them. And I bring this cart all around my studio with me. It has wheels. And in a few minutes, you'll see some of the other areas of my studio where I use my cart. But before we get to that, I'll show you one of the paintings I'm working on right now, which is a painting of 3 big, bright poppies. I love painting flowers, and I like painting poppies the best. So this is something I've been working on for a few weeks now. It's a big 36 by 36 inch painting on canvas. So those were some of the process steps I went through, and here are some of the details of the finished painting. Well, I think this one is just about done, but I'm going to keep it hanging for a few days and make sure it doesn't want me to do anything else. And I just want to show you what I have on my art cart over here. So here I have my paint palette. I like to keep my paint in a Masterson palette tray because I'm working with acrylic paint, and this helps keep the paint nice and moist. If I'm worried that my paint is drying out too quickly while I'm working in here for a long time, I use this spray bottle. It just has water in it, and I spray down my paint with a light mist of water, and that makes the palette last longer. And right behind there, I have some jars where I'm keeping my paintbrushes. The jars have some water in them because acrylic paints are water-based. And I have a different jar for some different colors. So from here, I'm gonna take you to the next station where I paint. So as you can see, in this area, I paint vertically, and my paintings are hung on the wall. And over here, I have a table where I sometimes paint laterally. So there's no right or wrong way to paint. It's really up to the artist's preference. And I have some paintings on this table that I've been working on that are part of my abstract landscape series. So when I want to paint over here on my nice high table, I just bring my paint cart with me, and it's right here now, and then I have my paint right where I need it to be able to work on my next couple pieces. So let's keep going around the room. You can see more poppy paintings along the wall back there. I do like to hang up some of my paintings while I'm working in here. And over here I have some lovely windows that look outside. I have a piece of art that my daughter made me for Mother's Day last year. And I have a radio because I like to listen to music while I paint, and a whole bunch of supplies that I use for finishing the paintings. I also sit in this chair sometimes to step back and contemplate my work and see what I might want to do next. So this is my standing computer desk. Sometimes I sit on a stool. And on this bulletin board, I like to hang little reminders to myself. And you can do this at home too. You can put little encouraging messages to yourself up on the wall or a bulletin board in your space. And then over here is where I have a third painting surface. This table's a little lower than the other one because ergonomically it really helps me to be able to adjust the height based on what I'm working on. And behind me here are my paints, and I'll show you a close-up of all my paints in a second. So here's the fun part. These are my paints. These days I'm using mostly Golden brand acrylic paints, but when I was just getting started and learning as an artist, I was using some basic student grade paints, which I still have some in my studio. Some of the other supplies I have include markers and tape measures and masking tape. I have Posca pens, which are paint pens that I use for some of my detailed work. And then I just have a whole bunch of brushes. And you know what? I have a hard time throwing things away because I might want to use them in a painting. So this is a roll from a paper towel holder, and sometimes I put paint on here and stamp my painting with the end of that. You can really use anything to paint with. And there we are at the table again. And so now to finish up, I just want to show you some of my finished paintings that are in my studio right now. These are all getting ready to be part of my summer exhibitions this year in 2021. And I'll just give you a little look around to see what I have. So here we go. I have a lot of paintings of flowers, and I love to paint poppies, and I also paint some peonies. And I'll zoom in for a second. This is kind of a little inspiration area for me. I love the beach, so I keep some seashells in here. And I have a wax warmer that makes it smell nice, because smell also inspires me. And sometimes I light incense over here as well. And so back to the paintings. This is a really beautiful big painting that I made of poppies. It's 36 by 36 inches. There's the doors of my studio that lead into the rest of our basement in our house. And over here, I have some of the paintings in my new abstract landscape series. And I just love the colors and the sense of space in these. And I find them way more interesting to look at than a realistic landscape painting. And down here is another one of my abstract landscape paintings that I'm working on right now. And I'm really excited about the colors in this one and how big it is. And I'll show you a little bit of how I'm working on this one. So here I am back at my lower table that I paint on. I'm going to bring that big abstract painting over here and show you what I'm doing with it right now. So what I want to do on this painting right now is I want to soften this big blue stripe up here because I want to bring more whites into the sky. So I'm just going to use my palette knife, and I have some nice thick white paint on here. And I like to paint on here right with my palette knife because it gives a very different texture and feeling to the painting than painting with a brush. I love painting with brushes too, but my palette knife is one of my favorites. So today, while I'm working on this painting, I will go pretty slow like this. I'll add some paint to it, and then I'll set it against the wall again and step back and take a look and see how I'm feeling about the new color that I've added here by adding white, and see how it's affecting the rest of the painting, and then I'll bring it back over and work on it a little bit more. So that's about what I wanted to do there. So the last thing I want to say to you before we finish up today is you don't have to have a big area in your basement to have a studio space at home. When I first started painting a few years ago, I just set up a little table in the corner of a room, one of our bedrooms, and I put my art supplies there, and that was my studio. So you can have a studio space wherever you have a little bit of room to put your supplies and make your art. So thanks for being here today.